Now remember, President Obama repeatedly downplayed ISIS and claimed that we were actually winning the war on terror.
They do not threaten our national existence. ISIL is on the defensive. Our 66-member coalition, including Arab partners, is on the offensive. There are fewer ISIL fighters on the battlefield in Syria and Iraq, and for those who are there, it's harder for them to recruit and replenish their ranks.
But then remember, in December of 2016, after the election, President Obama revealed to CNN he did not really fully understand, based on his intelligence, the scope of ISIS network. There are actually 44 major ISIS attacks around the world, 13 right here in the U.S., even though President Obama played that down as terror. Here's what happened. 130 people were killed in the United States due to terror attacks in the last 8 years. 400 wounded in those attacks here in the homeland. With me now, former Trump transition team executive member Anthony Scaramucci. What do you make of the bomb today?
Well, listen, I think it sends a very resonating message. The president last week, decisive leadership, doesn't like the atrocities in Syria. He responds. I think there's probably been 8 years, Liz, where our generals and the Pentagon probably wanted to drop a bomb like this to disrupt that cave system, the transit of poppy, heroin, guns, bombs, training facility people that are coming in and out of these recruitment areas in that area.
And going into Europe and elsewhere.
Yeah, and so I'll just give you an example. In October of 2015, I visited General Campbell. General Nicholson replaced General John Campbell, and we went around to, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 of our air bases, of the 14 air bases, and he said that he needed more resources. He said he was arguing with Susan Rice and the Obama administration about leaving 9,600 troops in the area, and he felt that he won that victory because they wanted to bring the troop force count down to 900. Which is what they did in Iraq, which caused the ISIS situation. And so this is fabulous for the United States. It's an example of decisive leadership, and this bomb is designed to do exactly what it did. And my guess is that there'll be less money that these terrorists will have, and there'll be less transit in that fertile area between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And so it's a win for America, and it's a win for Western Europe.
Anthony, there's also another development. The president is giving authority to the military and the CIA to make these decisions. You wonder if a congressional fight might be coming over this, right? Since President Trump sat in the Oval Office first time in January, he's pushed for a number of military actions to fight terrorism. Let's go through it. He granted the CIA authority to conduct lethal drone strikes, rolling back Obama limits. Navy SEAL Team 6 carried out that surprise dawn attack against al-Qaeda fighters in Yemen. U.S. military coalition nations released more than 7,000 weapons against ISIS. But what do you think? What do you think about the congressional authority versus the military authority?
So I think the stuff in Afghanistan he's probably going to get full leeway on because we've been fighting there since October of 2001. The Iraq situation is sort of a very weird situation because President Obama reduced the troop force. We had to bring the troops back up to 8,000 without that famous SOFA agreement, that status of forces agreement.
But giving the military and the CIA the power to make these decisions.
So it's sort of a weird thing. The Congress is probably not going to challenge them. If you're asking me if they have standing to challenge them, they do have standing to challenge them. But the reason why they won't challenge them is that none of these guys want to go into re-election mode having made a decision. Because if the decision is wrong, remember what John Kerry said, I was for the war before I was against it, and they don't want that whole flip-flopping nonsense. And so I think what President Trump is finding is that the Congress is very indecisive, and they're more or less going to let him do what he wants so that they don't get in trouble with their constituencies in that Monday morning quarterback situation if something goes wrong. And what I love about the president, I think the American people really love it about the president, he's willing to make these very courageous, very tough decisions.
The media is saying that he's bombing his way to popularity, and you say...
I say that he's bombing pursuant to a really good understanding of the situation on the ground in these areas. And I think after Jared got back from Iraq, I think he got a very full briefing of what's going on. I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been in a lot of these areas in the Middle East, and our military is finally being listened to. That's a very good thing for the American people in the homeland.